was glad when JFK Jr. drop kicked Berman all across that office.
Only apply that. Get it, don't be timid when you in it, apply that. Love a bone, give along, need it. I don't want no trip, baby, spend like
My name is Ashley, and this is My Sweet Perspective, where I give my take on all things TV and movie related, and I am here to put you on, okay? Guys, welcome back to the channel. Sweet Peas, how are you? And please, please, please forgive my tardiness with this video. Auntie came to visit, and listen. I've been laid up. All right. But alas, we are back to talk FX's love story, JFK Jr., Carolyn Bessette, episode 7, Obsession. Because at this point, that's exactly what it is, at least from the end or the side of the paparazzi. So if you guys remember, at the end of episode 6, that was the nuptials, right? We had seen the shack wedding. We saw them fly off into the sunset in this little plane. And now we are back. We done been to Turkey, honey. We've been all over Europe. And now we were back home, settling into reality. The honeymoon is really over, and it's paparazzi, paparazzi, paparazzi everywhere. They're hanging on cars. They're shimmying up drain pipes. They're in the streets. They're everywhere you go. They're outside the gynecologist's office. All right. They are anywhere you want to be. I think before this, we had a real understanding of JFK Jr.'s life being in the spotlight. What I don't think we foresaw, or at least me, is how much more intense it was going to get. And honestly, not for nothing, but I don't think Carolyn understood that to the degree that it would be. We had a couple follows here and there, a couple of front pages, but now you can't walk 2 steps without them crawling all over like roaches. It's ridiculous. Now the offers are coming in. Oprah, Barbara Walters, everybody wants to sit down, and it's very much giving no. I'm not going to do any of that. But Carolyn has her own dreams, her own goals, her own aspirations, and JFK Jr., honey, he's going to figure it out. So at this point, we know that she's quit Calvin Klein, and now she wants to go work at Ralph Lauren. My thing was, sister, if we're going to be living the life of a waspy white on the Upper East Side, I fear you need to start your own shop. You need to go into business for yourself. Maybe just become a socialite. You do the charity circuit and do all of those things. But no, I want to still do what I was doing. You worked as a publicist for Calvin Klein, so I can go do that for Ralph Lauren. And immediately, no, baby. Immediately, no. This is scary. We get to the interview, goes well, it's in the bag, but when we get out, the paparazzi, just like they are at their home with no doorman, they are here at the interview because everything she does, every move she makes, every step she takes is being monitored and is being sold to the paparazzi. Immediately, she's like, thank you for the opportunity, but and my thing is, sis, this is the excuse that you gave Calvin Klein. So now going over here expecting something different. Did you really to put the effort? So part of me has to believe that there is a certain level of naivete that she's still living in, even after we've seen what we've seen thus far. Now let's head on over here to JFK Jr. and Berman. Again, all about George Magazine, but now it's time to do TV. The brand is waning, all right? The magazine is not getting the sales that it needs to be viable, and we have a consultant in really giving us a lay of the land and what our options are. Well, if you and Carolyn just do this interview, maybe we can make something shake if you guys do that. Outside of that, I don't know where George is going. There's low brand identity. Do the cover of George, you and Carolyn, that'll bolster sales. And she's like, listen, Carolyn has said no to Vogue, Vanity Fair, every other big, huge magazine that's more in her wheelhouse. She's not coming over here to do that, and I'm not going to ask her to, right? Berman, to me, is an absolute weirdo. Now, if you watch the live discussion with myself and Struggle Reviews TV, you know that we vary in our opinions on this specific situation because I feel as though Berman and JFK Jr. partnered on this, knowing that JFK Jr. was really going to be there in name and face only, to serve a purpose, to be the billboard, to be the person with the name equity, right? And that was going to move about because he was America's prince, America's favorite son. Berman is coming into it with the expectation that I put my life on the line and you're not doing anything. And so now I'm going to be pissy. And my thing is, baby, fair exchange isn't a robbery. I gave you my name. I helped you come up with the concept for the magazine. I don't know what else it is that you want, baby. Get to work and work it. If that's what you want. I feel like if they were as friends the way it's being presented to us, then you knew who your friend was. You knew his work ethic. You knew what he was going to bring to the table, and you still decided to partner because you thought it was going to be a cash cow. And now that it's not, you have an attitude. But again, it goes so much further because Berman says basically you're just a tragedy. You're a tragic case, a public spectacle. You've needed a mommy and a daddy this whole time. Your life sucks. And the only reason people like you is because they feel sorry for you. And I don't give a F about you or Carolyn. I don't give a damn. I don't give a F about your marriage. I don't give an F about you. And that's what I've said the whole time. He's never cared about you, John. Never. And this whooping was justified because wear his ass out all over that office. And he did, and I was here for it because Berman, just go somewhere immediately. There's nothing for you here. Cut your losses. And apparently, they say he goes to work for a publishing house after this whole debacle, after he quits and walks out. So now, the next scene we see with John, he's at home and his cousin Anthony is there. And cousin Anthony is basically, they found some more masses, went from my balls to my lungs, and now there's this thing. And in this moment, I think we get a better picture to me of who JFK Jr. really is, right? In this moment, you can see how in some ways he really made this situation more about himself than he did his cousin who's going through the thing, right? It was very much like, oh, we're not going to talk about anything negative. We're not going to talk about it. I have a doctor online. We're going to get you taken care of, tip top shape. You're going to be out of there, right? Now, and I don't think it's conscious, and I don't even fault JFK Jr. for it. I think it's the life that he's lived. But rather than letting Anthony really sit in it and what's going on and just being there for him, it was automatically let me run in and come up with a solution to fix this. It almost gave toxic positivity in the moment. And I feel it. I've been there. If you've been in connection with anyone who's ever gotten sick, especially with a terminal illness, your first instinct is, I need to be positive. I need to be there for them. I need to hold their hand as they go through this, and I need to encourage them, right? No, everything's going to be fine. God's got a plan. You're going to be healed, all of these things. When in reality, I think some of the time, they just really need a quiet place to land and someone to talk to and let them feel the feels without all of the pressures and expectations of what to do next and what I'm going to do. So I think this was a very telling moment about just the character of JFK Jr. and how he moved in the world, right? So I'm not really going to fully capture this right now. I'm going to go have my little meltdown over here, but let me get the doctor's number and we're going to be okay. And I think Anthony understands and knows where he's at with it and is trying to make peace. And I think also because JFK Jr. at this point in his life has lost so much and lost so many people. And if you haven't gone down the Kennedy rabbit hole of all the loss that their family has endured over the years, not just his mother and father, but so many more, I think you can see where he was coming from, even back in these days. And now it's even more so. Even more people in the family are gone. But later on, we have to go because in Berman's little explosion, we find out that JFK Jr. has been signed on to do a voiceover on a documentary honoring his father, right? And he's like, no, I didn't sign up for that. I didn't do that. Ed did it. Well, Ed is Caroline's husband. And so now we're going to go over there with them and we're going to have a talk. And really, we're going to have a shouting match because how dare you, Ed, sign me up, put me in the game, coach, and I didn't sign up for this. This is not what I wanted. We get over there and I didn't ask you for any of this. And Caroline is basically like, you know what, John, everyone's always doted on you. You've always been the fan favorite. You've always been that. And I thought this would just be a nice little way for Ed to feel like he has something. And my thing is, what does Ed need? JFK is like, I shut this down. John said I shut it down. What? You did what about Ed? Ed is not a Kennedy. Last time I checked, Bookie Butt, he is not a Kennedy. What rights or needs or explanation did he need, especially to sign me up to do something that I'm never going to do? I'm not doing it, bud. This is what's not going to happen. Caroline is just really upset, and she and John are just really into it in this moment. And Caroline in this episode, to me, is more transitioning into her mother more. I think in the earlier episodes, we saw a different side of her, which was much more amiable, I think, and really trying to bear with John. And at this point, I think she's just tired. I think she's tired of him. So we go to the party, and Carolyn's over there playing with the kids because she don't get along with any of the people. The older ladies are asking her, "Hey, so have you picked a charity yet?" She's like, "The charity for what?" And my thing is, Carolyn, you research everything else. You've been strategic about everything else. Why are you not so much about this? I'm very curious. Anthony saves the day, pulls her to the side. They have a conversation, and she says, "You know what? Anthony John told me about everything, and he says you're going to be entering this new trial. Did he tell you that?" And I feel a couple of ways about in relationship telling secrets to your spouse, right? I for one think, okay, I think there's such thing as pillow talk, and I think that happens. But I also feel like there should be a line and permission should be granted for certain things. And I saw some comments that were talking about he wasn't really mad that Carolyn knew the information. It was the fact that John is taking such a prominent role, I guess, in the decision making and communicating information about it. And I think it's both. I think it's wild to have someone that you're vaguely familiar with come and talk to you about a serious condition at a party. I think that's a bit off-putting. And I also think it's John taking it upon himself to sign Anthony up and to do all these things. But we know that's just in his nature. On the other side of the party, we see John and a political somebody who's like, "John, you ready to put your hat in the race?" Senator JFK Jr. sounds a lot better than just regular JFK Jr. And it's like, does it? All right. Now, in the first half of this episode, we saw Carolyn slowly go into her cocoon because the paparazzi, it's crazy. Every time she looks out this window, what is going on? And ultimately, the thing is like, you guys have the coin. You don't have to stay here in this building, in this unmanned building at that. Get a doorman, get all of the things, and let's ease on down the road. That's my thing. We also at some point have a conversation, a lunch with sister. It's sister's birthday, and Carolyn has gotten her a gift, and they decide to go to this little diner. Bad idea because paparazzi's everywhere. And of course, the sister's, "I can't do this. I don't want to be on camera. I'll open this at home." But what's going on with you and John? This is getting really ridiculous. And I heard John's statement, and he was very much just like, "I don't want Carolyn out in the public and all of those things. But for me, I'm fine." And my thing is, this is how JFK Jr.'s always been. The JFK Jr. that we've met, he's never had an issue with it. But for Carolyn's sake, he's acting like, "Hey guys, can you take it easy?" He's not moving fast or quick enough for me. I said it in the live discussion. I'll say it again here that for me, and I'm not a person who believes in divorce, right? But this would be too much. So now we're about 2 months later. And we have John is going out for a part on Murphy Brown. He's going to be doing a walk on cameo moment. And if y'all don't remember Murphy Brown, go down the rabbit hole with Candace Bergman. Have a good time over there because it really was a great show. Carolyn is in therapy. She's on that lady's couch and says the woman's mind is an ocean of secrets. And I think she's kind of still grappling, not with her newfound celebrity only, but with who she will be in the space. Her family's not in contact with her outside of the sister. And all of these salacious articles are coming out about her. At this point, she's a crack whore, a pregnant crack whore at that. And family's like, is she really? Like, what's really going on? Her face does look fuller. There's all these things. And Carolyn is like, "Well, why didn't anyone call me? Where's mom? She had so much to say at the wedding and I haven't heard from her." They don't want to disturb you. They don't know what your new life looks like. They don't know where that's at. And there's all of these things, right, going on and going through her head. And again, my thing is with this, only death could keep my mama from me. At the end of the day, especially a new high profile marriage, if my mama read something like that about me, she would have been on her way first class flight to see about me and make sure that I'm good. So it's really to me telling about the dynamic of the family. Was there this, I'm going to take my hands off now because you're married, or was there always chasm in the relationship? Y'all guys drop it in the comments and let me know if you knew anything about Carolyn and her mother's relationship, because that's a lot. At this point, we know that they had the big blow up. And so Carolyn inspires John to go and talk to his sister, go talk to Caroline. You guys need to sit it out. She's the only person who knows you in and out, who's been there, everything that you've been through. Go and have this conversation. And we knew that they were always going to hash it out at the end of the day. They are who each other has, right? And so they're having a conversation, and we quickly get to the point of reconciliation. But also, how's Carolyn? I read those articles. It must be tough for her. Also, they got into it because Carolyn took the daughter out for a piece of candy. The daughter was going to go for the candy anyway. And my thing is, Caroline, watch your kids, baby. Watch your kids. And so anyway, she's like, "Yeah, I don't think I should call her because we've fallen out and all of those things." And John's like, "Just let it go and let's just figure this out." Right. Carolyn, at this point, to me, it feels like it's her against the world. She can't go to the gynecologist appointment. She can't go lay down on that lady's couch without somebody being there. And at this point, it feels like she's a recluse. She's reading all of these things in the paper. And John is just really, I hate to use this word, it gives so useless in these moments, because she's like, they're talking about I'm pregnant. What if we were trying to conceive? Or what if we had lost a baby? How dare they? And he's like, I know, hun. But there's never any steps that he actually takes to do this. And ultimately, it's breaking her spirit. And I said, damn, in 2 months, it broke her down like a fraction. Our good sis Carolyn is no good. She's smoking cigarettes at night. She's chain smoking cigarettes at night, peering out the window. It looked like she wasn't even taking showers at one point. It was really bad in my mind. She is just forlorn and let go. And I believe before the episode ends, we have one more outing, one red carpet that we go to. And this night she looks amazing. They're feeling good. They're in the car. They kiss before stepping out. And immediately they're calling her a see you next Tuesday and every other name under the sun. And he wants to stop and take pictures. And it's like, John, read the room, feel something. And she lets go of his hand and she walks. Of course, I think that's going to be foreshadowing to what we're going to see later on with the relationship. But I don't know for sure because I'm not going in them research streets until after the show. I just want to watch this show and enjoy it for what it is. But I was proud of Carolyn in this moment. And I'm very ashamed of John in this moment because you're not paying attention. This is your wife. This should be your number one priority outside of politics, outside of George Magazine, outside of all of those things. Your wife in this moment should really be your priority. Now, what I will say as far as Carolyn, I do believe she wanted JFK. I am thoroughly convinced that he has always been on her radar and this is something that she wanted, comma. I don't believe she understood the full weight or gravity of what that was going to look like to be in his space. And but that he is America's prince. He's the golden boy that can do no wrong. Any woman that comes in his orbit is going to be the bad guy, is going to be villainized, is going to be kind of ridiculed and made to feel small, unfortunately. And again, I think we see it in recent years with Meghan Markle. Just the villainization to me unduly just for really no reason. Now there are things of course that people can come up with, but as far as just hating a person just upon looking at them, that's what this gives with Carolyn. I really hate this for her. And I really hope that at some point before the end, because we all know that tragedy is looming in this relationship and in this show, I really hope she can find a modicum of peace. But you guys drop it in the comments. Let me know what you thought of Love Story, JFK Jr., Carolyn Bessette, episode 7, because they really broke her, y'all. Be sure to comment, subscribe, hype the video, do all of the things. And I will see y'all in the next one. Thanks for watching.